Hey there, welcome to day 5 of Lead Your Way. So excited to see you joining. Welcome on in. I'm Christy Consular. Welcome to day 5 of Lead Your Way. It has been a great week, and thank you for showing up with so much engagement, enthusiasm, great questions, great ideas. Hello, hello. Let us know where you're dialing in from. Welcome to day 5 of Lead Your Way. Congrats on showing up for yourself. Hello. Hope your week has been a great one. It's actually raining outside here, which is kind of a bummer. I was hoping to go for a walk later today. Hey, Diana, great to see you. Hello, hello. Happy Friday. Happy day 5. You made it. Getting ready for the holidays. And if you are live or watching this on the replays and you've been with us for all 5 days, put a 5 in the comments. Would love to see. Hello from also rainy San Francisco. It's definitely cuddle up under a blanket kind of weather. Welcome, welcome. And if you've been here for all 5 days, put a 5 in the comments. All right. That's awesome. Congrats for showing up for yourself in that way and really taking the time in the waning days of 2020 to think about yourself and how you want to set yourself up for success next year. Okay, and if you are catching this on the replays and you have also been here 5 days, definitely put a 5 in the comments as well. Would love to know. And I know that we've had a few people register just since yesterday. So if this is your first time actually joining us, put a 1 in the comments and you can catch all of the replays. I'll keep those up through next Tuesday. And then we will pull those down in the Facebook group and from the replay page. So make sure that you are registered so you get access to those in case you'd like to go back. And of course, any of you who have been with us for all 5 days but still would like to go back and look at those, you still have through Tuesday in order to do it. All right. So again, thank you for an awesome week together. I have really enjoyed the engagement, the ideas, the fact that you're going for it, you're doing the homework, you're showing up for yourself. So that makes me happy, and it's a great time to do it. Right, we're ending what has been a most unusual year, and then planning ahead for next year. And I think it's fair to say, put a yes in the comments as if this is true. Were there goals that you had in 2020 that you did not accomplish? Put a yes if that's true for you. It's certainly true for me. And so what I want to do is get you set up so that you can be ready to accomplish what you want to in 2021, to focus on those big things that really matter, right? The small stuff that is a nice to have, that doesn't matter so much. But let's think about what those big things are for you, and let's come up with a plan for what that's going to look like. Yeah, okay. Hey there. Hey, JD and Dash Creations. Nice to see you. All right. So before we dive in, any questions? Any questions so far? Let me know in the comments. And while I'm waiting for those, I will, as I always do, I like to do a quick review of what we've done. So let's look back at this week together because we've covered quite a lot. Day 1 on Monday, we talked about the foundations to lead your way. And specifically, we talked about the importance of having a strong inner game and a strong outer game, and they have to be aligned. You can know intellectually that you should be doing something and know the strategies and the tactics. But if you don't have your inner game aligned and strong, you won't reliably and consistently do them, right? So we talked about how that the bottom of the iceberg, the 95% that's below the surface, really drives everything, and how your conditioning, your mindsets really influence your behaviors, and your behaviors influence your results. And we talked about how, every time that you are up leveling, you are going to a new level, you're continuing your growth, you are going to bump up against things that you need to upgrade. You need a mental operating software upgrade, and that's absolutely to be expected. Okay, so you have to regularly upgrade your mindset every time you up level and decide to go for things in your life that you haven't had present yet. Okay. And, again, it's absolutely doable, but I don't want to make it seem like it's easy, where it's just like, oh, okay, I know I need to up level. Boom, I've up leveled. You need to get support for it, and you need to get support from people who know how to help you specifically with that, who can help you move beyond all of the old negative patterns, beliefs, assumptions, and put in place new, more empowering beliefs, and that will drive better behaviors. Okay. And then on day 2, we talked about how to influence authentically, and really who you are being and how you are showing up is so much about, it plays so much into how influential you are, right? Because only 10 to 20% of communication is the actual words that you're saying. We talked about a simple influencing model to really think that through and to be more influential. We talked about how it's important to seek first to understand where the other person is coming from and what's beneath the surface for them. What do they really want and need that they might not be saying, but it's something that they're driven by? And how can you approach the situation and them with curiosity and empathy and compassion, so that you can flex more towards them and help them hear you better and build a stronger connection with them. So can you see how that's so important, right? That really the ability to have a strong inner game, to really leverage that 80 to 90% of communication that is non-spoken. But really who you're being and how you're showing up really is so powerful. All right. So on Wednesday, day 3, we talked about zone of genius. And this is something, again, it's a bit complex, but it's an absolute game changer. It is absolutely empowering. It gives you the power to pivot. It helps you realize a multitude of options and ways forward and ways to apply your skills, talents, passions that are relevant for today's needs in the marketplace, right? So, and I also want to point out, I don't think I've mentioned this before, but, in terms of neuroscience, and again, I'm a big fan of studying the latest advances in neuroscience. And one of the advances is around understanding the differences between women's and men's brains. And one of the things that they know is that women are very good web thinkers. So we tend not to be linear in our approach and go from A to B to C to D, but we tend to be more holistic in how we think about consequences of different actions. And while it's not linear, there's great value to this web thinking and being able to think about what are implications, what are effects on other people with decisions and courses of action, et cetera. So there's been some interesting research done about how, with a very VUCA world, if you've heard of that, it stands for volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity, right? So that sounds like now, and that term's been around for a while, but 2020 has definitely been VUCA. But essentially what it's saying, with a lot of things changing and uncertain, and having to think about contingency plans and that sort of thing. Women's brains are uniquely suited to do that well. So, don't forget to take that into account when you're thinking about, well, what are my skills? My guess is you're probably pretty good at that web thinking as well. There's been a lot of talk about how we really need a transformation in leadership, and this transformational leadership style, women are uniquely capable and qualified to lead in that way. So again, I want you to feel empowered that you have innately a lot of talents in order to do that, and you've also learned some tools for how to think more broadly about how you add value, right? All right, so can you see the power of that? I want to hear, is that empowering for you? To me it is, but of course I nerd out on this stuff. So let me know. And then yesterday we talked about growing your income through both your relationships, your relationship networks, and your neural networks. We talked about the shocking statistics around women and earnings and how women under-earn in every sector of the economy, whether it's corporate America, whether it's in entrepreneurship, whether it's in the startup and venture capital world. You really have to claim what you want, right? So you can't just hope that people see that you're doing a good job and be expected to be rewarded and compensated in a way that is on par with what your value is. So you have to be well informed, you have to know your value, you have to prepare, and you have to ask for what you want. Okay, we talked about the BS bubble that a lot of us carry around and the need to pop it, right? So whether your BS bubble is, I shouldn't spend time and money investing in myself and my development. That's selfish, right? We had some interesting comments and people being honest about thoughts that came up for them, that were kind of in their subconscious, but when you just like really quickly write down what comes top of mind, those are some of the things, right? And we talked about how you can absolutely learn how to have an empowered mindset and how to get better at asking for what it is that you want and what you need, right? I gave the example of one of the women who was in a past program, and right after our session went on to negotiate $40,000 salary increase plus additional equity. So it's pretty powerful. I mean, just know that you can make significant strides pretty quickly with a good strategy and with an empowered mindset. And you have to take yourself seriously. You have to commit to yourself in a new way. I shared the example of when I spent $30,000 for that mastermind program. It was 3 meetings. And it scared the crap out of me, but that's exactly what I needed in order to show up at a new level, and ended up making the investment back in 2 months. Would I have taken that level of action and shown up for myself in that way and popped my BS bubble if I hadn't done that? I don't think so. I probably wouldn't have. And, if nothing else, you've probably realized time goes by quickly. I mean, here we are, December 2020. And so if there are things that you have really been wanting to do, or if there's been something in your heart that you feel like, I've been wanting to go for this for a while, and when's it going to happen? You need to make the decision. You need to make the decision, and you need to make it happen, because it's not going to happen on its own without intentionality, right? We talked day 1 about showing up intentionally. With professional athletes, they do something called deliberate practice, where they're very focused on one particular aspect that they work on getting better and better. And again, the neuroscience research shows that just by approaching in that way with deliberate practice and deliberate focus, it actually helps build new neural pathways, and it helps you form new connections in your brain and get better and better, but you have to make it a habit. Okay, no problem being late today. Yes, VUCA superpowers. do sound pretty cool. It kind of reminds me of Star Trek, like Vulcan mind meld. All right. Okay, so VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. In other words, 2020, hashtag 2020. All right. So let me know, out of all of those things that we just ran through, that quick summary, what was most useful or helpful for you in terms of an insight? Just drop that in the comments. I'm curious to hear what applied to you or really resonated with you most. Hey there, Preeti. Great to see you again. All right. So let me know, what of all of these things, what have you found? Hey, Lexi. Great to see you. What has particularly resonated with you or been something that you needed to hear or focus on? Inner game versus outer game. Yeah, that's a key distinction. Seems so simple, but it's really profound. All right, what else? What else has been useful for you personally? You think you need to focus more on? And then we're getting rid of self-doubt. Yeah, zone of genius, giving you a lot to think about. I'm glad. It's very empowering. Working from your core values in zone of genius helps you create your own autonomy. Yes, and go after opportunities. Absolutely. There are so many, it's limitless when you have that framework and you think about it in that way. Inner game versus outer game, gravitas. Absolutely. Good. I'm so glad that this has been landing for you. All right, so let's dive in. I'm kind of sad that it's day 5. We are talking about taking empowered, courageous action. And many things, inner game, outer game. Yep, values as your North Star. Claim what you deserve. Absolutely. Okay, this is going to be super fun because we're going to create a quick 2021 plan at the end of this for you. I'm so excited. All right, so let's go to your workbook. Have that out. Women tend to feel less inclined to invest in self-improvement. Yes. We think we should be able to figure it out ourselves. Yes, absolutely. The whole DIY approach, and I shouldn't spend resources on myself. I should know how to do this. If I have the information, I should be able to do it. And I just want to demystify that. That's simply not true. We are social creatures, and we need people who can to see us, support us. We all have blind spots, and so it is important to get support. And I think especially this year, so we're all isolated, physically isolated, and so it's important to have a community that gets you, that has your back, and that wants good things for you. So I am grateful for you creating that type of environment this week. I'm really happy to have you in the Facebook group. That's what we are there for, is to talk about these things. And so anyway, just know that we all need it. All right, so taking empowered, courageous action. Here we are on the worksheet. Confidence is overrated because it implies a destination and not the journey. So here's what I mean by this. I see a lot of people, and I have fallen prey to this before in the past, before I knew better. I see people think, well, one day I'll sort of arrive. I'll just be confident. I'll get to the point where no matter what, I'm confident. And what I would say is, confidence is like, it's a fluctuating thing. And confidence doesn't matter so much because it implies that you've arrived and that you're never going to grow, that you're never going to have new circumstances or unusual things that come at you. And what we know from what we talked about in day one is that it is human nature and how we're wired, and the fact that we have the amygdala, right, the creature brain, that is solely 100% responsible for keeping us alive. And it's always scanning the environment and taking in 11 million bits of information per second. It's always looking for threats, perceived threats to our safety. So we can't overcome that. You're never always going to feel confident, but what you can be is courageous. So courage is the mental or moral strength to venture, persevere, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. That's the dictionary definition of it. But you gain confidence by being courageous, right? We talked about the importance of habits, and especially a morning routine. And courage is something, it is a muscle, and you can absolutely strengthen your courage muscle. And so know that there are, small things done over time consistently can help you increase your level of courage. And the more that you follow through on these courageous steps and behaviors, the more your natural level of confidence and just assurance that you can handle, you won't get knocked off center, the more that builds. So self-care is also an act of courage. So that's the next sentence. Self-care is an act of courage, because we get so many messages that it can be selfish. It requires strong boundaries and high standards for yourself. I find that a lot of times women need to strengthen their boundaries, whether they say yes too frequently to things, right? And take on extra work that they're not appropriately valued and compensated for, or whether it's, someone, not advocating strongly enough for yourself, or asking enough for what you need, or making clear what kind of behavior is okay and what's not, right? But it's really important to have boundaries, and it's important to have high standards for yourself. I would say raise your standards. Pretty much all of us can. What do you want for your life? Look, set it high. Don't set it low. You get to choose. And so raise your standards of what you want, of what's okay with you, of what you want to go for. You need to stretch and have a vision for yourself that gets you excited, that makes you feel joyful, that makes you feel almost a little giddy. Like you get to have this. You just have to intentionally declare it and plan for it and go out and get it. So let me know if this is making sense here. But it's really important in terms of boundaries and standards and thinking about that. And that is very often something that we need help strengthening. All right. I'm going to take a drink while I hear from you. Yeah. It's really important that you signal to yourself that you are your priority and that you're worth it, right? And so that's part of what the morning routine does, right? Is every day you are beginning your day not looking at other people's agenda for you, right? Email and news and all that good stuff. But you are very intentionally investing in your own well-being through whether it's your mini yoga routine or getting outside and going for a walk or exercise, doing your meditation, really giving yourself that act of self-care. If you if you're working on an important goal, it's prioritizing that and maybe taking the first 10 minutes after you do your morning routine to put focused effort on making progress on your goal, right? You hear a lot with people who are writing books. First thing they do, rather than leaving it to chance, is they sit down, they write for half an hour and just write a half an hour every day, no matter what, right? Yeah, let's see. So right now, here's what I would like you to think about. Given all of this this conversation, I'd like you to think about, for you personally, if you were to pivot into your most courageous, what would that look like for you? What would you do differently? So take a moment and write that down in the workbook, and also pop it in the chat when you get a moment. So not worrying about the most confident you, but the most courageous you. When you pivot into your courage, what's different? What does that look like? What feels like a stretch? It can, and you can think about it in terms of inner game or outer game. You can think of it in terms of goals. You can think of it in terms of upgrades to your mental operating software. You can think of it in terms of creating new opportunities for yourself. What, when you're pivoting into your courage, and especially thinking about the year coming up, what does that look like for you? What's in that? And while you're thinking and writing, I'll just share one thing that that I realized was I needed the courage to, this was probably in the last 3 months, I realized I had to be courageous to get away from my desk and actually have fun. And while that doesn't sound courageous, I actually needed to give myself the permission and not feel like I was failing, but recognizing that it was actually additive to my level of job satisfaction, the success of my business, my health and well-being, because I realized that I had been sort of succumbing to the myth that if I wasn't sitting down and working and talking on the phone, that I wasn't being productive and that I wouldn't be as successful. And it actually turned out to be wrong. I needed to set better boundaries and prioritize joy, right? And de-stressing. Okay. Makes you feel empowered, like you can do what you set out for? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. What else? What does pivoting into your courage look like? What do you think? Are there some things that maybe you need to let go of? Are there some old, outdated beliefs that you need to say goodbye to? Quelling your doubter? Yeah. Thanking it for its service. I love that. Having compassion and gratitude, and applying yourself to the objectives you set up for yourself. Yes. Make time for exercise in the morning. New mom guilt. Yeah, and I would say make it really small. There's some great, by the way, like 6-minute workouts and things that you can find on YouTube and on Pinterest and that sort of thing, but make it doable, and then you can build from there. Seek projects out of your job requirements. Yeah. Voice your opinion clearly. Awesome. It's the right thing to do, and not just be a yes leader. Absolutely. And that, just from what you wrote, I can tell that that's more in alignment with your values and the person that you want to be. In control of your own destiny, letting go, and knowing that everything will be successful. Yeah. Yesterday, I also had my We Lead class right before our session. It's my women's leadership program, the 6-month program. And one of the things that we talked about was faith, and having the faith that when you're doing the right things and putting in the effort consistently, it takes a while before you start to see results sometimes. And you have to move forward with faith that by doing the right things, it will eventually pay off. And that can be really hard. Allowing yourself to rest. Yeah, that's a better way of describing what I was saying earlier, so that you can be energized and sharp in creating things. And when navigating feedback. Yes, absolutely. Very insightful. And thank you for stating it so eloquently. All right, here's what I'd like to do. I'm going to do an exercise with you. So hopefully you have a piece of paper, something that you can write with. And here's what I'd like you to do. Draw out a 2x2 matrix like this, okay? So just like a box with 4 sections. And in the first, on the upper left, I want you to put 1 week. On the upper right, I want you to put 1 month. On the bottom left, I want you to put 1 quarter. And on the bottom right, 1 year. So this might be backwards, but it's 1 week, 1 month, 1 quarter, 1 year. Okay? And we're gonna plan out for a year from today. So almost the end of 2021. And so 1 week, let's put a date to that. So that's going to be 12/18, right? In your first box. And then 1 month is going to be 1/18. And then 1 quarter is going to be 3/18. And then 1 year is going to be 12/18, okay? So we've got our 4 boxes, and we've got 1 week, 1 month, 1 quarter, 1 year, and then the actual dates. And here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to fill in the boxes and think about, what is it with everything that we've been talking about this past week? Inner game, outer game, goals, dreams, courage. I want you to think about, what is it that you would like to be able to say in 1 week? So next Friday, if we were to talk, what would you like to be able to say that you had or worked through or realized or accomplished or asked for? So make yourself however many bullets, 1 or 2 or 3 bullets within 1 week. And then think about in 1 month. So by mid-January, what is it that you would like to have present for yourself in your life or have accomplished? And then by March, mid-March, what would you like? And then within a year, what would you like? So take a minute and just start filling that in. But this is a great way to think about. Some people like to start with the beginning, shorter in, and then go out longer. Some people like to start with, in 1 year, I'd like to have X, Y, Z, so therefore I'm going to plan backwards. However it works best for you. But I want you to think about, with 2021, what would you love to be able to say? Because by now, I hope I've impressed upon you that we can't just, hope, right? Hope is not a strategy. It's important to get in touch with what we want and hope for. But we also know that there are ways that we can move forward bit by bit to get what it is that we want, rather than hoping that it shows up or leaving it to chance, or getting knocked off our game when things change all around us, right? And feeling like, I've lost my momentum, forget it, right? And again, you all know how quickly time goes. So what I like to do is I like to use this on a regular basis. And so obviously what you'll want to do is, you can keep changing this 1 week, but you're going to want to start tracking and seeing, where am I in 1 month, in one quarter. And then you can adjust as you need to, right? And that's going to help you figure out what should you focus on each week. Again, think about it in terms of the big things in your life, right? If there are things that you have been wanting to have or to do or to be for a long time and you haven't made progress on that, think about how you break it down. All right, so let me know, do you find this framework useful as a way to get a quick and dirty plan right in front of you to think about what is most important? And I want you to think about, what's the actual proof that you will see? So not, I want to be working on such and such, but like what is going to be accomplished or in your life present for you by those dates? Let me know, put a yes if this is helpful. Good. I'm glad you love that framework. It's funny, this is from the mastermind I told you about. So I did get 3 meetings and a water bottle out of it. Okay. Awesome. All right, so here is now obviously, this is just a small piece of, what I do when I work with people, but I wanted to give you something tangible and a tool that you can use all the time going forward. So it's beneficial to do more reflection, right? And to think about what were your wins? What were the obstacles? What are what's the internal skills that you want to build? What's the external skills, et cetera? But this is a nice shorthand way to capture all of that. And I wanted to be able to do something so that you're walking away with at least a draft and taking the time again for yourself to think about what it is that you want. Yeah, setting it for a year and a month. Yeah, but it helps for that cadence. Absolutely. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay. And so next I want you to think about, how are you going to hold yourself accountable? What works for you in holding yourself accountable? And write that down. Capture that in your workbook. And so a few things that I will do, I commit to doing to help you with, just keeping the momentum going. As I mentioned, we're going to keep the videos up, the video replays through Tuesday in the Facebook group. So feel free to go back, watch those, review them, do the homework. You have until, I'll tell you, till tomorrow to finish up the homework, but I'll get to that in a minute. Second, I know that a number of you have reached out about, if you want to take this further, you're curious about potentially joining the group that I have or working with me privately. I will share that link in the chat with you if you would like to set up. I have a handful of spots still available. If you want to have like a 20-minute mini strategy session with me. So, and that is designed to really get you some actionable steps that you can take to make progress on your goals, right? So we'll talk about where you are now, where it is you'd like to be, and what are some specific things that you can take to get there. And it's completely free. It's with me. It's not with a member of my team. And no obligations. So I will share my honest thoughts about what I think would be most useful for you. If I think it's a good fit, if one of the programs or working privately with me might be helpful to you, I'll let you know and invite you to apply if it seems like a fit. But either way, I want to be able to offer you help with thinking about your next steps and into next year, since this has been such a complicated one. And let's see here. Yeah, and then I would love to also, I plan on keeping the Facebook group active. I don't think I'm going to offer this again, this Lead Your Way program. So I am looking to definitely stay engaged and to provide value, next year and going forward, and making sure that there are fresh new things that I can bring to you. This is probably the last time we'll be doing this in this type of a format. So know that there will be, new things, and each Wednesday I go live and do a live mini training. But feel free to connect within the Facebook group network, ask questions. We've had people, get job leads that way. We've had people expand their network that way. So definitely feel free to do that as well. And then the one last thing I want to talk about is tomorrow I am going to make myself available, and we'll send it out in an email from 11 to 11:30 Pacific. I will be on Zoom, and I'll be doing two things. One is answering any questions that you have about anything that we've covered or how it might apply to you. And this is a Zoom session, so I'm not going to be streaming it. We'll be able to be face-to-face and, have more connection, which I think will be really helpful and lovely. I'd love to see your smiling face as we talk. So again, that is tomorrow at 11 to 11:30 Pacific. We're sending out the Zoom link for that. And I will also announce, if we have one, as a reminder, if you do all of your homework for all 5 days, you will be entered to win a high performance planner. Let me show you. So this is the planner that I love to use. And I like it because it focuses a lot on the inner game, and it focuses a lot on those micro habits that set you up for success and helps you plan out your day, your week, your month, and do an assessment, course correct, and move forward. So if you do your homework all 5 days, if you submit it before the call tomorrow, the Q&A call, you will be entered to win this, as well as a free 20-minute session with me. I'll walk you through exactly how I use it and how you might want to, use this to help you be most productive, engaged, successful, and just using this as a great tool. So with that, I am going to wrap up and let you get your Friday evening started. Thank you so much for your presence, for your engagement. I have so enjoyed this time with you. I love seeing the questions, comments, thoughts, realizations in the Facebook group and the homework, so make sure that you do that. And here is your homework for today. And you actually have a little time, so you can do this first one. One thing I'd like you to do is, number one, complete one courageous action today, no matter how small. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be like this big grand thing or this grand goal. It might be finding a yoga video to do tonight, or sending an email to someone that you've wanted to connect with and ask them if you can have a call, something like that. But something that feels courageous, that's an act of self-care, that when you think about yourself and the person that you want to be and how you want to, when we get to 2021 and we're talking in December 2021, and you think about, this is who I want to be and where I want to be as a person, what's one thing she would do? And then do it, okay? And then number two, this is important. What emotions did this courageous action elicit in you? Again, this is a muscle that we build. So I am purposely asking you to do something courageous and then notice how it feels inside, because you need to start getting used to that feeling of being more courageous. So maybe it makes you proud. Maybe it makes you excited. Maybe it makes you nervous. But notice what that is and put that in the homework. Okay, so wonderful to see you all this week. Can't wait to see your thoughts in the homework. Have a wonderful weekend. I will see you tomorrow for Q&A. I will be there for half an hour. Come join, bring any questions that you might have. And it will be via Zoom, so it's not going to be streamed. It will be a closed door private session, just with whoever joins via the Zoom link. And I can't wait to see you. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.